For years, we've basically been talking at our devices. Hey, what's the weather? Play my favorite song. But we're right on the verge of this massive shift, a move away from just barking commands to having real, fluid conversations with AI. So let's dive into this revolution in voice technology. We've all been there, right? You ask it something simple, and it just doesn't get it. Or you try to interrupt it, and it just plows ahead, completely ignoring you. It sounds robotic, and it totally loses the plot if you don't speak in these perfect, clean sentences. So why is that? Well, it really all comes down to how they were built in the first place. So, to really get where we're headed, we gotta look back at how things used to work. These traditional voice assistants, they have this fundamental design problem that makes them feel so, well, clunky. The reason they're so clunky is something called a cascading pipeline. The best way to think about it is like a game of telephone. Your voice gets passed down this assembly line of different steps, and with each handoff, there's a chance something gets lost or messed up.
And this is where you can really see the problem. Okay, so first, it takes your voice and just flattens it into plain text. Boom, all your tone, all your emotion, gone. Then, a totally separate model tries to figure out what that flat text means. And finally, a third system generates a brand new, often robotic voice to talk back. See, every single one of these arrows is a potential point of failure, and that's exactly why the whole thing feels so unnatural.
So, what's the fix? Well, researchers have come up with a totally groundbreaking new approach that just scraps the old system entirely. Let's take a look at how this new way of thinking builds a much, much smarter system. Instead of that messy, fragmented pipeline, new models like Gemini are what's called a single unified omnimodel. Think of it like this: one single brain that handles everything, processing the audio directly from the moment you speak to the moment it responds. Just look at how much cleaner this is. That whole game of telephone we talked about, it's gone. It's just audio in, AI processing, and audio out. And because it's not squishing your voice into text anymore, it gets the whole picture. Not just the words, but the tone, the pauses, the emotion, everything. And look, this isn't just some minor technical upgrade. This completely changes the game. It unlocks a whole new universe of conversational abilities that feel, well, way more human. And that's going to totally change how we interact with technology every day. So, because it actually understands the sound of your voice, it can pick up on your emotional state, like if you sound excited or maybe a little tired, and then respond in the right way. It can control its own vocal style, translate languages in real time, connect to other apps to get stuff done for you, and it can even handle interruptions without skipping a beat. I love this example from one of the demos. This ability to control the AI's vocal style, it's called prosody, which is just a fancy word for the rhythm and tone of its voice. This is all possible because it's one single model. It can understand a complex command that mixes content and style without getting all confused.
And get this. This is what's really wild. These models are starting to show what are called emergent capabilities. Basically, the AI is learning to do things it wasn't even explicitly taught, like adding a little laugh or a sigh to make the conversation feel more real and relatable.
Okay, so picture this. You're talking to someone who speaks a different language, but they hear you in their language, in your own voice. How cool is that? Well, this new architecture makes that possible across 24 languages. It can literally clone your voice and your speaking style into the other language, making communication across the globe feel way more personal. Now, this is a crucial point. This isn't just about having a nice chat. Tool use basically gives the AI hands and feet in the digital world. It can connect to other services to check on your package delivery or help you book an appointment. So it goes from being just a know-it-all to being a do-it-all, an assistant that can actually save you time.
And finally, it can handle a real messy conversation. You can cut it off mid-sentence, and it'll actually stop and listen. That's barge in. It gets the difference between you pausing to think and you being done talking. It can even tune out a conversation happening in the background so it can stay focused on you.
All of this sounds incredible, right? But how in the world do you teach an AI to be such a sophisticated conversationalist? It's kind of like a 3-stage training program. First, it does its homework, learning the core skills from a bunch of really high-quality, perfect conversations. Next, a bigger, smarter teacher AI basically mentors it, passing down its knowledge. But the real magic, the secret sauce, is that last step, reinforcement learning. This is where the AI learns from trial and error, getting rewarded for good conversations and corrected for bad ones. It's what makes it so incredibly natural and helpful.
Okay, so this is all amazing, but let's be real, it's not perfect yet. And researchers are working hard on some pretty big challenges that are still out there. And probably the biggest hurdle of all is something they call the intelligence gap. It basically means the AI can act smarter when you type to it than when you talk to it, even though it's the very same AI under the hood. So here's a perfect example. If you ask out loud, why is the sky blue? You might get a pretty simple conversational answer. But if you type that exact same question, you might get a super detailed, formatted response with bullet points and even emojis. The big goal here is to get rid of that difference, so the AI is just as brilliant whether you're speaking or typing. So why does this gap even exist? Well, it boils down to two main things. First, there's a representation gap. It's just really hard to perfectly capture all the little details of human speech, the tone, the pauses, you name it, in a digital format. And second, there's a data gap. I mean, think about it. Almost all of the world's really deep, complex knowledge, like in books or research papers, it's all text. There just aren't that many audio examples of deep, analytical conversations for the AI to learn from. So there you have it. We're watching AI voice tech evolve right before our eyes, moving away from those clunky old command systems and into truly fluid conversations. And it's all thanks to that fundamental shift from a broken-up pipeline to a single, unified brain. This is unlocking incredible new abilities, turning our devices into real collaborators and companions. And that leaves us with one last, pretty big question to think about. As AI finally learns to talk like us, what are we going to choose to say to it?